Russian President Vladimir Putin might just be hoping the brutal Ukrainian winter will succeed where his military has been a dismal failure. The Russian air offensive on Ukraine's critical infrastructure appears to have widened from targeting the electrical grid. Now water facilities are under fire with devastating effect. In Kyiv, a city with a pre-war population of 3 million, 80% of residents no longer have access to running water, according to the capital's mayor. Notably, Ukraine's military says 45 of the 55 Russian cruise missiles fired Monday were shot down. That still meant at least 10 hit their mark. Along with Kyiv, Kharkiv in the east and Zaporizhia region in the south, there have been reports of heavy damage. There appears to be no other reason for these strikes, which have caused water shortages and rolling power blackouts nationwide, other than to make the coming winter the worst ever for Ukrainians. And Putin has warned there could still be worse to come.
After the terror attack against Crimea Bridge, you said that in the case there are more attacks, Russia will respond. Can we call today's massive strikes on Ukrainian territory an answer to recent events in Sevastopol?
It is so in part, but that's not all we could have done.
As for the many countries facing food shortages, the price of grain has risen after Putin suspended, but did not end, participation in a UN-brokered export deal. The announcement came over the weekend, Russia blaming Ukraine for an attack in Crimea. Russia claims movement on the Black Sea grain corridor is now suspended, warns using it would be risky. Still, about a dozen ships could be seen using it on Monday. The grain export deal is viewed as key to addressing the food shortage in a number of countries around the world. Ukraine says it remains committed to the agreement, even if Russia backs out.
I spoke with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres and informed him about the new level of escalation due to Russian actions. Terror against Ukrainian energy facilities and, moreover, against the background of Russia's efforts to exacerbate the global food crisis is clear evidence that Russia will continue to oppose itself to the entire international community.
And Mr. Zelensky says Russia's latest strikes on the country's infrastructure will do little to break the back of Ukrainian resistance. Air campaigns historically have never done that. CNN's Nick Robertson reports now from the capital.
Life just got harder in Kyiv. Monday morning, 80% of the capital's water off, following a new barrage of Russian airstrikes. Spigots not used since the war began, a lifeline again, but not unexpected.
Everyone who are in Kyiv right now and they choose to stay here, they are ready for this.
It won't make you leave the city?
No, I will stay here. I didn't leave it since the war began, so why have to do it now?
Despite the long lines in some parts of the city, patients are plenty.
I think 30 minutes, my friends think 1 hour. Maybe 2 hours, maybe 3. Maybe no water after 20 minutes. I don't know. But all will be okay.
Scenes like this are becoming increasingly normal across Ukraine. Government officials say that there were 10 different regions targeted Monday, 18 different sites. Among them, a hydroelectric power plant, Ukraine's biggest, in Zaporizhia. Another power gen site in Cherkasy, central Ukraine. Kharkiv's subway in the east, stilled by strikes on vital infrastructure there. And despite intercepts, 44 across the country, according to the government, groups of missiles getting through. At least 3, according to this witness, near Kyiv's hydroelectric power plant. A missile flew over our house. I went to the balcony and saw the second missile and a drone, she says. Both were flying in the direction of the power plant. It's so scary when you see it. 3 weeks of targeting Ukraine's electricity network is pushing the power grid towards a tipping point. No doubt, more of this to come. Nick Robertson, CNN, Kyiv, Ukraine.
Retired US Air Force Colonel and CNN military analyst Cedric Leighton is with us now for more on the latest developments from Ukraine. Colonel, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, John. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, sir. Now, what exactly does Putin mean when he says that's not all we could have done with regards to these airstrikes on the civilian infrastructure? And what does he hope to achieve? Because these air assaults, these air campaigns, really work.
Well, yeah, it's very interesting because, when you look at the way air campaigns have been conducted, you were exactly right that, these campaigns really have the opposite effect of what's intended. They tend to stiffen the resolve of the targeted population. Generally speaking, unless there is a ground component that is successful, and the Russians don't have that, the air campaign is going to fail if it is done in a way where it's the only element of power that is brought to bear. So what Putin might be hinting at here could be the use of some other kind of weapon, some other kind of tactic, something that could perhaps, in his opinion, change the calculus of the war. But so far, we haven't seen them use that. And of course, the big possibility here is a tactical nuclear weapon. So I think at this point in time, that is more of a bluff than anything else, but it is definitely something that we have to be concerned about.
What's interesting, the Ukrainian military says more than 50 Russian cruise missiles fired Monday, 44 were destroyed by the Ukrainian air defense. Still, those which reached their mark, they caused a huge amount of damage. Here's the Ukrainian president now on efforts to restore power.
As of now, restoration works are still ongoing in those regions where there were hits by Russian missiles today. We are doing everything possible to restore the energy and water supply, and we will restore it.
I'm just curious, what's the calculation here? At this point, is it a question of what's going to last longer, Putin's dwindling supply of missiles or Ukraine's power grid?
Well, actually, it is. That's exactly right. We're looking at who can run out the clock fastest. In other words, who can really run out their supplies. And I think what you're looking at is the possibility, at least, that Russia is going to expend its missiles, especially the type of cruise missiles. These are air-launched cruise missiles that they've used in these particular attacks. They will lose those. They will run out of those more quickly than the Ukrainians will lose their will to fight. And the Ukrainians will certainly be able to restore some of their power, some of their water before too long. And I think they'll be able to do this in a fairly concerted fashion. They'll need some help to do it, but it's going to be something where they will beat the clock in terms of whether or not Putin will run this or not. But it is certainly a case where the Russians are going to be spending a lot of money and a lot of weapons in a perhaps futile effort to coerce the Ukrainians.
And after this weekend drone attack, which Moscow says targeted Russian ships in Crimean waters, the Kremlin suspended this UN deal, which oversaw the safety of cargo ships carrying grain. It was being sent out by a humanitarian corridor. Here's Putin explaining why he did that.
Those drones, both undersea and air drones, happen to be partly in the corridor through which the grain from the Ukraine is exported. They created risks for both our ships, which should provide security for the grain export, and civil ships who are taking care of it. But we've made commitment to provide security. But if, pardon me for the expression, Ukraine hits those ships, we will be the ones to blame.
Oh, the victim. We've heard from a number of people saying they just don't buy that. So from your point of view, how credible is that explanation?
Not very credible at all. Based on what we know about the path that the drones took, it was far from anything that resembles the path that the grain ships take on their way out of the Ukrainian ports. So the Russian explanation does not hold water. The UN doesn't believe it. No other nation believes it. So these explanations are not credible at all.
So that gets us to the question of why. Any clues as to why?
Well, I think he's using anything that seems credible and he can probably sell to the rest of the Russian population as far as his ability to conduct this war, and in terms of the abilities that he has to. So the Russian press will spin this in a way that will make Russia play the victim, and it'll be credible for that audience, unless, of course, they get other information which will negate that.
Cedric Leighton, thank you for being with us, sir. Appreciate your time.
You bet, John. Thank you.